A Filipina nurse has made quite an impression for her skills in wielding the pen. Romalyn Ante was selected as a Jerwood Compton Poetry Fellows for 2021 to 2022, along with two poets from the UK. The multi-awarded writer joins us tonight live from Wolverhampton. Romalyn, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. What does it mean to you to be selected as a Jerwood Compton Poetry Fellow?
Thank you so much, Rico. Thank you for having me on your show. It means so much to me as a Filipina-born woman who writes in English as a second language. I think it's a big statement for me. I try to write and shed light on the narratives of the community, especially the Filipino migrant community, which I really care for. And I think this would be a great gift for me to shed light on their narrative.
And what made poetry and words so interesting for you? Why are you so passionate about it?
I think the Philippines in general has a very rich faculty of language, even though we have been colonized by many countries or occupied by many countries throughout the years. We have the Harana, the Kundiman, and sometimes we even get together through Inuman and share songs and share language. And I think that's what really fascinates me about poetry. I want to use language to explore and criticize my own thoughts, the world, but also as a means to transform, to foster empathy.
And we are really very proud of you, Romalyn, working as a nurse in the UK and now being one of the fellows for the Jerwood Compton Poetry Fellows. Tell us, you love the Philippine language so much, you love the Filipino culture. Have you integrated Filipino words into your English poems?
Yes, definitely. My book, which came out last year from Chatter and Windows, is called Antiemetic for Homesickness. Antiemetic is really a medical word which means anti-sickness for homesickness. So I try to bridge two different worlds, which are the United Kingdom and the Philippines. And in order to bridge them authentically, I have to use my mother tongue, which is Tagalog.
And can you read for us a few lines from this poem?
Yeah, sure. So I will read a poem from my book, Antiemetic for Homesickness, and I will actually read from the actual poem itself, Antiemetic for Homesickness. A day will come when you won't miss the country na nagluwal sa'yo. You'll walk on greeted streets, light snow shoaling you like a mother's warmth. A vertigo of distant lights will not deceive you. Bury all the kisses of yesterday in the fold of your handkerchief, the illuminated star-shaped lanterns, the tansan tambourines. But keep the afternoon your father sold his buffalo to rent a jeepney to take you to the airport, the driver who spat out phlegm with the trajectory of a grasshopper that lands on the ground. So that's the first three stanzas of that poem.
It really hits home. What will this Jerwood Compton Poetry Fellows do for you, Romalyn, as a poet?
So the award itself gave me quite a substantive amount of money, which would basically buy me time. I still work in the NHS full time. So what I would do is I would use that money to buy more annual leave so I could concentrate on my poetry. And it would also provide me a year of mentoring and support. And I have a lot of plans to write more poetry, but also to introduce different Filipino poetic forms to the British landscape. And that's really my goal throughout the year.
And when do you find time to write poems?
To be honest, I don't really know sometimes. When do I find time? It's been a very hectic schedule for me, especially over the last year. But I think it's the matter of not, the question really is not when, but why. Why do we write as writers? And every time I think about that, then I do find time, even if it's on my break.
And for Filipinos who are watching us right now across the globe, aspiring to be a poet, what is your advice for them?
I think it's very important to speak to yourself and find out why do you write and to whom you are writing, and also the place where you are writing from, because it's very easy to just write anything and to copy things from other people, especially if you're just starting. But those three questions, why am I writing, who am I writing for, and which place am I writing from, would be your ground, I think. They would stabilize you whenever you feel lost or whenever you feel dejected.
Filipino nurse and poet based in the UK, Romalyn Ante, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word.